สวัสดีครับ I'm Point from ค้นพบ What is the difference between reasoning and wisdom? And why do we often confuse the two? Now, this is a topic that I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time now because I think it's quite interesting to really consider it. What is the difference between the two? So let me begin by presenting it this way. How do you experience reality? Do you experience reality for what it truly is? The way it really is? And the answer is simply no. In a normal state of awareness, a normal state of mind, a normal state of consciousness, we do not experience reality for the way that it truly is. We actually distort reality through the way in which we process our experiences. In other words, it is what we call our reality is always a result of the way in which we interpret and process an experience, the way in which we give it meaning, the way in which we think about it and look at it. It is as if we are translating the input that we get through our five senses in addition to the interpretation and the meaning that we construct and impose on top of it. From an evolutionary perspective or a psychological perspective, this makes perfect sense because we need to construct meaning in this confusing and chaotic and turbulent world in order to feel that we have some sense of understanding, in order to feel that we have some sense of solid ground and some sense of control from which we can then navigate life, from which we can use as a basis to make decisions in each and every day. Makes sense. But the thing is this, we often mistake this for reality itself. So number one, do you notice how you often use reasoning, analysis, thinking, logic, as a tool to interpret and make sense of something that happened. Say, something that happened in a relationship, something that happened in a work situation, something that happened as you're traveling to another country or simply traveling to the nearest convenience store. When you're hearing the doctor give the medical examination results back and discussing what to do next. All these things, your mind is always constantly interpreting all the time continuously. But notice that the process of our reasoning and our thinking is really conceptual in nature. It is conceptual in nature. It is only ever held on the level of our intellect. So notice that this is not reality itself. We are distorting reality. Okay. But we often consider it to be true. From your perspective, you consider the conclusion of your analysis, the conclusion of your thinking, the conclusion of your reasoning to be true. And you apply this in every domain of life. Now, this can either serve you or cause you problems and bring you trouble. I'm sure you can see where this is going. So, let's use the help of an example. Let's say you're somebody who wants to have nice relationships with everybody, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your boss, with your family, with your partner. You want a beautiful relationship in all domains of your life, which is a wonderful thing. But due to life circumstances, perhaps you've met a troublesome bunch of people who have brought you more trouble than good, who have maybe not been so truthful to you, not so honest with you. Maybe you felt betrayed or let down or disappointed. And as these experiences happen over time, you look at what happened, you think about it, you reason it, you analyze it, and you conclude a rather dark and bleak picture of humanity. Let's say. And I know how tempting this can be. So you have a dark and bleak picture of how humans behave, how people are, how your society is, because of past experiences and the way in which you give it reasoning and logic and analyze it and look at it, which forms a habit, which now becomes a belief system, which now gets stored as your memory. So how do you think this way of looking at things, which from your perspective, you will argue the validity of it to be completely true? What do you mean, Point? You don't understand. I've been thrown so many punches in life. People are just like this. People are all selfish. Everybody is selfish. There's no such thing as true love, blah, blah, blah. I understand, but bear with me here for a moment. Right? So imagine that you now have a belief system that gets you to think in that line, right? And you believe this to be true. You will argue for it. How do you think it will serve you down the road? Do you think this will enable you to fulfill your heart's desire of cultivating and developing genuine, authentic, loving relationships with other people? Or do you think that it will only serve to trap you in a place of fear, and that dictates your consequent behavior? You see what I mean? So wisdom gets you to then ask the question, what is my state of mind like right now? Wisdom is centered upon you observing your inner state of mind, not using your intellect to look outwards and construct meaning that you identify with and that you hold to be true. And now it's like a double-sided sword. Now it serves to harm you. It serves to cause you to have a negative, bleak outlook towards life. In other words, now you are suffering and now you're unhappy. So wisdom gets you to consider your state of mind. How is your state of mind right now? Are you in a good, happy, joyful place? Or are you in a fearful place, disappointed place, negative place, sad place? That's what wisdom will get you to see. Then wisdom will get you to see, why are you in that negative place? Is it because of truth and reality itself? Or because of how you're looking at it, how you're giving it meaning, interpretation, how you're processing your experiences? And wisdom will invite you to consider that. Is there another way of looking at it that can help me deal with people in a wiser way, so that it helps me to cultivate good relationships, even though I know that there may be a few bad apples out there, for example? How can I develop myself to the point where I feel completely confident and capable to protect myself and to engage in relationships in a constructive way, while also being detached or unaffected by other people's behaviors or opinions? Yet I'm also open and welcome beautiful, genuine interactions. See? Wisdom gets you to consider this, because wisdom gets you to consider that and accept and understand that at the end of the day, it's not about holding on to or being attached to our belief systems that we construct through our reasoning over time. It's not about being attached to our memory of our past experiences. It's not about being attached to what's right or wrong. He wronged me. She wronged me. He betrayed me. He stole from me. She cheated on me. At the end of the day, that doesn't matter. Because what matters more is, well, are you in a good place or are you in a bad place? What is your state of mind right now? And how would your state of mind affect you going down the road into your future? How would that state of mind affect the people around you that really matter? Your family, the people who you spend time with in each and every day. Is it serving you and is it serving them? Or is it limiting you and is it limiting them? Wisdom will get you to ask this question. So, similar to last week's video on learning to embrace life, there is a truth to be accepted here that wisdom, developing and cultivating wisdom means accepting that we are always responsible for our state of mind. We are responsible for how we choose to look at something, how we choose to think about something, how we choose to feel about something, how we choose to respond to something. This may seem negative at first, but bear with me. It's actually empowering. Because once you realize this, you realize that actually nobody, no opinion, no life circumstance, no situation can affect you and can have power over you until you allow it to, by believing that it has power over you, by believing that past experiences which were unfortunate have to continue to repeat itself in the future. Wisdom will get you to take back power from that unhelpful belief, and you now take that power back and take ownership of it and allow that power to work for you, because you know that nobody has power over your state of mind except for you. In other words, you only put yourself in a negative place and suffer for it if you believe that somebody else put you there. If you believe that somebody's actions, opinions, behaviors, words, life circumstances cause you to be the way you are, and therefore it now defines you. You're identified with it. You feel victimized by it. You feel hurt by it. Wisdom will get you to understand that at the end of the day, you can choose you. Choose yourself. Let go of what happened. And this ties into forgiveness too, which hopefully we'll talk about in another day. And I understand that for a lot of us, including myself, we've all faced disappointments. We've all faced setbacks. We've all faced hardships in life. We've all faced situations where it was deeply hurtful. And we had to go through it. We had to evolve through it. But the question is, when you come out the other end, do you bring a limiting, unhelpful belief system with you? Or do you come out the experience feeling empowered to continue to lead your life and to strive for what you want because you know that you deserve it and you know that you can cope with life's challenges and hurdles and difficulties until you finally achieve your heart's desires? Wouldn't that be better? That's what I'm trying to say and propose here. So what I want to get at here is we must understand the limitations of logic, reasoning, analyzing, which at the end of the day is really about our desire to make some sense of understanding because we want to feel that we are in control of the situation. We want to feel a sense of security because we understand it and therefore we can predict it. And ironically, this mechanism can be very attractive even if it's not really serving us. Even if it's only promoting you to create an unhelpful, limiting, self-defeating, self-sabotaging belief system around the situation. See what I mean? So wisdom must lead, must guide you, and logic and reasoning must serve that wisdom. It must be guided by your wisdom. But in practice, in order to really cultivate the fruits of what our conversation is pointing to, it requires training and practice. And we need to develop what we call coping skills, as we discussed in last week's video, learning to embrace life. So if you do have time, please be sure to check that out too, because I think the two will go well together. In order to develop wisdom, we must develop coping skills, because we need to be able to accept that life has a whole mix of taste to it. Bitter, bad taste, sweet, good taste, ups and downs, and a whole bag of all those things in between. And that we need to develop the inner resilience and perseverance if we want to really live a meaningful and rewarding life, which we can all develop and live if we strive for it. Okay. So again, I want to emphasize that reasoning, logic, analysis is only ever held at a conceptual level. You're not truly in line with reality itself. You don't see reality for what it is. Now you can be correct in your conclusions, in your reasoning, because you have all the facts to support your case. You have all the reasons in terms of morals, ethics, values, etc. to support your case. But at the end of the day, wisdom will ask you, how is this serving my happiness? So wisdom will help you build the courage and the strength to choose your own happiness, contentment, peace of mind over choosing the need to be right, the need to be attached to your belief systems and how you look at it. Because you'd rather be content and happy and live a joyful and meaningful life despite outer circumstances, outer misfortunes, circumstances that you can't really control that happened to you. You realize, as I said last week's video, that life isn't really about what happened to you, but about how you choose to look at it, interpret it, and therefore respond to it. And we can teach ourselves to live life from a more empowered place. And that, we could say, logic and reasoning will really be a powerful tool if it is under the guidance of wisdom. Okay, I hope this video was valuable for you. Again, one last thing I want to say is wisdom is about placing your awareness on your inner state of mind. How are you experiencing reality right now? Because reality simply just is. Wisdom is about developing clear perception, seeing the difference between your conceptualization and how you project your sense of understanding onto reality, and seeing that, hey, that's not reality. What really is true right now is how I am experiencing it. So wisdom is more in line with reality as it is. And the more the more work you do, the more you cultivate that, the more you cultivate awareness and wisdom, which is really the same thing, going down the same path, they go together. The more awareness you have of yourself, the more wisdom you develop. And the more you do this, the closer and more in line with truth you will get. And you will start to align yourself with your values, your integrity, and what your heart truly desires. And this serves you as a powerful force of empowerment to drive you towards your goals and dreams. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. สวัสดีครับ